Hello, and welcome back to Road TRIpVIA, the once-a-day road trip trivia quiz. Today's episode is a special one. Kevin, a viewer who runs the Gilded in Blood podcast, submitted this 21-question trivia quiz that we're going to use for episode 925. So if you enjoy literature, particularly in the horror genre, you probably will enjoy this quiz, and you should check out his Gilded in Blood podcast, available at gildedinblood.buzzsprout.com or all the regular podcast platforms. Good luck on today's quiz. Question number 1. Shirley Jackson is the author of The Haunting of Hill House, but she is also widely known for writing a story that, when published in The New Yorker in 1948, so disturbed people that many canceled their subscriptions to the magazine. What was this story? The title of that story was called The Lottery. Question number 2. In 1982, Raymond Briggs wrote a book in a comic strip format about James and Hilda Bloggs, an elderly couple living in rural England who must prepare for what event? The ultimate fear of those living during the Cold War. They are preparing for a nuclear strike. Any version of that answer will be acceptable. Question number 3. In 2006, author Cormac McCarthy wrote The Road, a book that some call his masterpiece. It is a desolate story about a man and his son making their way across a dying America after an unnamed environmental catastrophe. What prestigious award did this novel earn? The Road was a proud winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Question number 4. In response to a challenge to a group of friends to write a frightening tale, Mary Shelley had a terrifying dream and used it to write the story that would become Frankenstein. How old was she when it was published in 1818? Mary Shelley was only 21 years old when her book was published. Question number 5. We were all traumatized when Bambi's mother was shot by a hunter, but Felix Salten's source novel is even darker. Intended by the author as an allegory for an oppressed section of society at the time, which political party banned the book in 1936? In 1936, this political party was banning a lot of stuff. The answer, the Nazis. Question number 6. Horace McCoy's short novel, They Shoot Horses, Don't They?, tells the story of two desperate, aspiring actors who take part in a dance marathon that eventually becomes a nightmare. During what aptly named era of American history is this novel set? This will give you an idea of the mood of the whole book. The answer is the Great Depression. Question number 7. The Long Walk imagines a dystopic America in which an annual walking event is held for 100 teenage boys. The rule is simple. Go slower than 4 miles an hour more than 3 times, and you are killed. The author's name, Richard Bachman, is a pseudonym for what famous writer? Richard Bachman was a pseudonym for Stephen King. Question number 8. In the Old English epic poem Beowulf, the titular Gate sails with his men across the sea, to rid King Hrothgar's mead hall of a monster named Grendel. The action takes place in what is now Denmark, but what modern-day Scandinavian country did the gates historically call home? The answer is Sweden. Question number 9. Junji Ito is perhaps the best and most well-known horror manga artist working today. In his bizarre work, Uzumaki, a town and its people become infected and obsessed by what usually whimsical design? They become infected and obsessed with spirals. Question number 10. In the novella Sour Candy, a man suddenly finds himself the guardian of a decidedly strange and otherworldly boy, a child who insists that the man only eat the title snack from now on. In what country was its author, Kaylin Patrick Burke, born? Kaylin Patrick Burke, born in Ireland. Question number 11. William Shakespeare's Hamlet, considered by some to be the greatest literary achievement in the English language, tells the story of a young prince who must avenge his father's death. What 6-word question begins Hamlet's third and most well-known soliloquy? You may not have known it was from here, but you have heard to be or not to be. Question number 12. Lisa Genova's haunting novel, Still Alice, recounts the story of a Harvard professor suffering early onset Alzheimer's disease. In its 2014 film adaptation, who plays the role of Alice Howland, which earned her an Oscar for Best Actress? The answer is Julianne Moore. Question 13. Tim Crabb's 1984 novella about a man obsessed with finding his girlfriend after she goes missing was published in English-speaking countries as The Vanishing, but in its native Dutch it was called Het Houdai. What does this translate to? Perhaps a breakfast for King Midas. My Dutch is not good, but Het Houdai means the golden egg. Question 14. John Gardner retold the epic tale of Beowulf from the monster's point of view in 1971's Grendel. This postmodern story is structured in 12 chapters, each centered around a section of what astrological system, featuring such animals as a goat, a lion, and a crab. That astrological system is the zodiac. Question 15. Stephen King was inspired to write Pet Sematary by imagining what would happen if his youngest son at the time was hit by a truck in the busy road they lived next to. What is this son's name? An author in his own right who co-wrote Sleeping Beauties with his father in 2017. Stephen King's youngest son, his name is Owen King. Question 16. My Friend Dahmer is a terrifying graphic novel and memoir by John Durf Backdurf, who went to high school and was briefly friends with the notorious serial killer. In what city did Jeffrey Dahmer commit his crimes? The answer is Milwaukee. Question 17. Naomi Alderman's 2016 novel The Power imagines a reconfiguring of physical and political power structures between women and men. Who was Alderman's mentor, the Canadian author of The Handmaid's Tale, which also examines societal gender struggles? The author of The Handmaid's Tale was Margaret Atwood. Question number 18. In M.R. James's ghost story, "Oh, Whistle, and I'll Come to You, My Lad," a scholar on holiday finds an ancient whistle with the words "Quis est iste quia venit" inscribed on it, and makes the ill-advised decision to blow it, summoning a frightening specter. What is the translation of this Latin inscription? Quis est iste quia venit is "Who is this who is coming?" Question 19. Toni Morrison's award-winning novel Beloved tells the story of a woman who is being haunted by an angry spirit. While certainly a ghost story, the book is actually about the real-life horror of what major cause for the American Civil War? The answer is slavery. And question 20. Sarah Grand made waves in 2003 with her disturbing novella Come Closer, the story of Amanda and her supernatural troubles. She is plagued by what common horror trope popularized in books such as The Exorcist and The Case Against Satan? The answer we're looking for is demonic possession. Being possessed by a demon, or any version of that answer. Alright, that is it for today. Thank you for watching today's episode of Road TRIpVIA. And thank you to Kevin, who submitted this trivia quiz. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, Kevin runs the podcast Gilded in Blood. It's a horror fiction podcast where he discusses literature from the horror genre. And right now he does an episode about every other week, but in August that might get shortened to once a week. So stay tuned. If you enjoyed today's quiz, or you enjoy the horror literature genre, go check out his podcast. The address is on the screen, or you can Google Gilded in Blood podcast. It comes up on all the major podcast platforms. Very interesting stuff. He's got some good episodes on there, and he's been talking to me. He's got some great episodes coming up. So if you're into that sort of thing, head over there. Thank you for watching today. Here is question 21, the tiebreaker for horror fiction trivia. At the same holiday trip as Mary Shelley in 1816, and also a participant in the same challenge that inspired Frankenstein, John Polidori wrote a tale that first introduced what other famous monster to the world of literature? At the same time that Frankenstein was introduced, John Polidori wrote about a vampire. He published it in 1819, which was like 80 years before Bram Stoker's Dracula, so he gets the credit for introducing the blood-sucking vampire to the horror genre. Thanks, John, for all the nightmares. Thank you again to Kevin. Excellent quiz. I enjoyed it. Hopefully some other horror fans out there did as well. Remember to check out his podcast if you're interested. The links are in the description of this video below. See you tomorrow for another new trivia quiz. I hate to scare you. Those of you that don't like horror might have a rough week ahead of you. I've got at least one more scary trivia quiz tomorrow. This one was also submitted by a fan. I figured we'd just put them back to back and give you 2 scary days in a row. So, see you tomorrow for Lady Killer Trivia.